All right, we are live. It's been a little bit too long since the last time we spoke to my buddy Fernando, but last week you asked me if I could share something in the office because you have a project or a class or a course or a project coming up, and if I could put some posters up. And then I thought, well, let's just have you on here and talk a little bit about what you have going on and who you're partnered up with and who this project is geared to help.
Well, one, thank you. I'm always blown away by your willingness to support and assist, and really just blessed to have you as a friend. And yeah, man, we are teaming up. A buddy of mine, his name is Gunnar. I'll get a little bit more into him in a second, but I've focused a lot on adults for the most part, doing a lot of men's work and a lot of adult classes and working with folks around my own age, and more recently have been focused on kids for a variety of reasons. One, they're just a lot more fun, to be honest. And two, there's a lot more stress around being a kid, a lot more pressure, a lot more distraction. And so my buddy and I had decided to create a course around athletics, but to target uh, young athletes, high school aged, so that they're not just playing a game and playing a sport and trying to get good at some specific craft, but really using their time on the field and their time in this team or this game to improve their humanity, to improve their efficacy as a human being, not just a physical mover, but an emotional being, how to manage their emotions, how to not get super tied into their head or a negative space, but really use this game as a way to perfect being a better human. And I really was more motivated in this space because of my partner, Gunnar. Now, Gunnar is, I mean, a specimen. Wait till you see him. He's a beautiful Greek god of a man, but he's been in fitness his entire life. He's lettered in a varsity sport 10 different times for a variety of different sports: hockey, soccer, baseball. I mean, you name it, this guy's a stud. But more recently, as an adult, he started competing in the CrossFit Games, and he's traveled the world. He's placed 120th in the world. That's pretty wild. And he's been a performance coach for the last 10, 15 years with adults and kids. And I've yet to partner with somebody, and this seemed like the perfect opportunity. So we have created an 8-week virtual course in which we'll come online 2 hours a week, and the athletes will be definitely getting physical movement. So we'll be practicing physically, so live workouts, but we'll be doing a lot of emotional tuning, a lot of breath practice, a lot of body awareness, and just getting a lot of inquiry from kids. And hopefully, this is something that takes off, because I've been noticing the Generation Z has been labeled the sickest generation of all time, highest proclivity to mental illness, highest rates of suicide. And so we really want to help this market and bring them something that, can be useful for the rest of their lives.
All right, so I have a few questions right off the bat. No, well, let's just do logistics. When is this happening, or is this when you get enough participants, then it launches?
It's a great question, Noah. Gunnar and I are shooting to start in October, but we have been getting some, I don't want to say kickback, but really trying to work out when it's most feasible for these young athletes to come online for 2 hours a week. Now, most of these kids, and I know because I have a 12-year-old son, I mean, you'd think they're like the president of the United States. Every day of the week, they got something going on, whether it's this sport or that sport, or, a lesson of some sort. So we're hoping to start in October, but we're pulling from some different interviews and conversations we're having with parents to find out when is the best time. So we may actually end up running potentially two different cohorts in October, depending on what days during the week or even weekends make the most sense. But we're not tied to any specific start date. We do want to gather a little bit more intel and get a couple of numbers in the group. But since it's virtual, it's not like we're limited to space or time, so we're a little flexible.
Yeah, that was my concern. I'm thinking about, my son Hayden, who's a college athlete, and I'm thinking about my son Kellen, who plays, three sports in high school. Is that and Kellen is an A+ student. I'm just thinking to myself, when would this slot in? And it's obviously valuable. It's just, when are they going to slot it in? And the truth of the matter is that anybody can slot in 2 hours with the amount of time that they still find to game, even if they're a three-sport athlete and an A student. So there is time. So it becomes a value type scenario. But you're going to get pushback, and I would honestly, it would be hard for Kellen to do it right now because of his grade, because of everything else he does, and then then starting in November, he becomes a two-sport athlete plus school. So I get it. I get it. So are the classes live, or are they recorded?
Well, both. We're encouraging the kids to be live for the 2 hours, but everything's gonna be recorded. So if a kid can't catch a session, he can certainly rewatch it. But we do want some interaction, and we do want to get some feedback. And like you said, kids are always finding time. On average, kids are spending 8 to 10 hours online per day. This is an average. It's like an entire work session. Kids are not even online anymore. They live online. They don't actually ever come off it. Now, a lot of the topics that we cover are this type of conversation. The amount of screen time. How are you waking up in the morning? How are you going to bed? How are you increasing your recovery time? Because the science is pretty clear. What you do at the gym is only a microcosm of what's happening. It's how well is your body recovering from the stress that's just endured. So a lot of times kids are kind of nullifying their workout by jumping right into a screen or eating improper fuel. We even have a registered dietitian meeting us in week 6 or 7 to help the kids with nutrition, because at some point you can't rely on mom and dad for all of your meals. And oftentimes we may even be sneaking our own meals. And so we want the kids to be hyper aware of how they're using their bodies, how they're monitoring their own thought patterns, so that they can become better athletes, but really better brothers, better sisters, better kids, better humans. And that's our challenge.
So, wait, so you said, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 hours a week for 8 weeks? Is that what you
Correct.
said?
Yep. And we're flirting right now. Some of the feedback has been like Wednesday nights and Sundays, kind of early evenings. So those are the two that have come back as the most I'd say popular right now.
And if they couldn't make it live, it's possible to watch a recording and
Cor-
do. Is there a workbook or a manual or homework?
Yeah, there's going to be some midweek challenges, things that they're going to be asked to do on their own. There's going to be a group thread where all the athletes are on it together, just to keep accountability, but also to encourage each other during the week to, do their either writing assignment, or sometimes it's like an emotional challenge that week. Start a conversation with a stranger, interact with someone eye to eye. Uh, you'll notice that when kids are talking to you, they even have a hard time having a conversation because they're so used to digital communication. And then when they get in front of somebody, they're scattered, their eyes look around, they're not very present. And that's when their emotional bodies are really coming online and preventing them from really forming connections, from really interacting with somebody on a potentially more serious level so that they can grow, number one, but also feel more connected to other human beings, which helps them feel more confident in the future.
This sounds like a very much expanded version of something that I wanted to do with you for Thistle for years now. That just the club just won't bite. Like you know.
Sometimes the things that will help us the most, the things that are going to create the most change, are the things that we're most resistant to. It's where we want to kind of stay in the same place. Even if it may suck, it's comfortable because it's familiar. And so usually it takes a lot more effort to jump into these new avenues because really we're scared of our own greatness. We're scared of becoming bigger and better because we know it's going to take a little bit more effort that we're currently using.
So let me put you on the spot. So give me some ideas of what the lessons are going to be. You mentioned them briefly,
Sure.
but just give people a little better grasp of what they're looking into or looking at.
So I'll start with something like a day one stuff, like the letter A, right? First letter of the alphabet. How are you approaching this game? What is your level of awareness around what's happening? Maybe right before the game starts, you're starting to get a little anxiety, right? And so this front part of your body, this superficial front line, we're trying to tune. We're trying to relax the front part of your body so that you can allow more air, so you can allow more room in the diaphragm. So you can expand your awareness around your chest. So you can take your shoulders out of this kind of nervous, scared, backing off type of posture, and then you can broaden through the chest. So there'll be a lot of front line tuning, working through deep tissue to create a larger space around the broadness of the chest, which will instantly build a little bit more confidence, even have a little bit more fun. Now, we'll also notice the pattern of breath. How deep are you breathing, or how little are you breathing? How much time are you spending inhaling? How much time are you spending exhaling? What do you do right before the game? What do you do the morning of the game? What do you do after the game? How do you talk about the game? How do you recover from the game? These are all topics that are covered just on day one. And these things build into the next session. Everything that is potentially a loss is actually a lesson, is actually another learned tool and experience. So these are the areas that we're going to touch: hardware and software every day. And sometimes really dialing into where does that feeling or where does that emotion actually sit in your body? And how can you kind of iron it out before you even start the game? How can you envision winning before ever stepping on the field? How can you feel like you've won before even starting the game? Because we already know that, if your mom yells at you, if your girlfriend breaks up with you, if something emotionally happens to you, your performance is going to be radically affected. Even if you've trained, even if you've practiced, even if you know all the moves and you know all the plays, if your emotional body is not calm, is not prepped, then your performance is going to be affected. So we want to really let the athlete tie these two things in together so they can feel whole, so they can feel full and ready. And whatever comes at them is just part of the game. It's another challenge. It's another resistance form of training. And hopefully this is something that, becomes second nature, and not just on the field, but at school. Maybe they get a bad grade. Maybe some kid is bullying them. Maybe someone's making fun of them. This is their chance to practice software, to tune their emotional bodies, to stay calm, stay confident, because they have practiced this.
That's amazing. What else? What other questions do I have for you? Um, I know what you have to offer. Gunner seems to be pretty amazing. You're going to go over nutritional and recovery strategies with a dietitian, which is a really, I think, can't be understated because these kids are not fueling their body the way they should. So that's a really important module. Um, how? I guess I'll ask what is the investment?
So it's if you pay in full, it's $888. And then we have a few different payment options. You can break it up into 2 payments or 3 payments, and the price is gradually increasing as far as payments. But it's 888 for once. I think it's 444 for two, 333 for 3 payments. Keeping the numbers pretty even, and really this kind of an investment is a long-term investment. This is something that the kids can use forever, not just on the field, like I said, but in reality, in efficacy at school, being social creatures, and really keeping this in their back pocket. Because simple things, like you said, the dietitian, controlling what you eat, controlling what you put in your mouth, and the controlling the urges of things that you want to eat. These are really simple ways to perfect your body's efficacy, your ability to stay powerful, to stay confident, and to stay strong. Often is a result of denying yourself something that you want in the moment, some relief or some good taste or some escape. This kind of work is how we build a platform, a scaffolding, if you will, so that we can stay in these elevated places, so that we can stay in higher emotional states. And if we do drop, we have this, ladder to climb up. We have these tools to get us back on the playing field so that we don't stay in this rut for too long. We don't stay in this kind of negative place and end up living there long term.
Let me ask you this. Would a parent, I think the answer is yes, would a parent benefit from taking the class as opposed to the student athlete?
Yeah, of course, man. Every human being can use this, and I'd love to see that the child, even just as a result of this shift, ends up, it's like Bluetooth, ends up helping their parent as a direct reflex. Because if there's less stress going towards the parent as a result of the child sort of upgrading their own nervous system, because we are very tied to each other and we want people to feel how we feel. We've heard the thing, misery loves company, but happiness loves company too. Everything loves company. And so if one piece of the puzzle improves, then everyone around them improves. Now, I was going to create this course or something very similar to it just for adults. And when Gunnar and I decided to team up, I shifted a lot of my current offering and really poured everything into this program. And I'm sure I'll create something in the future for adults, but I really wanted to target kids, especially now that back to school has just wrapped up and kids are getting back into the swing, and they may need an extra resource to help them through the rest of the year, the rest of the season.
Okay, well, that you've answered all my questions. I said I gave us a 20-minute time frame, so we're just about there. So what I guess now just let everybody know how they can get more information on what we're speaking about today.
Yeah, Gunnar and I are totally open to discovery calls. I know Gunnar has been posting about this, and I'm posting about it myself. Anyone who comments better in any of these posts, or even just reaching out to me directly, on Facebook or Instagram or through my website. Happy to have any one of these conversations with the parent, with the athlete, so that they can feel as comfortable as possible entering this container.
Easy peasy. I'm Fernando. We're done, but I'm gonna call. I have just an idea that I just want to suggest to you, but I'm gonna call you as soon as we get off, buddy. All right.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Thank thank you. Thank you. I know it was a little hard for us to carve out some time because we both have crazy schedules, but I'm glad we did it. If you want to, if you want to do it again in a shorter time frame when you actually have the official start date, so get a couple last minute stragglers, I'll be happy to hop on for 5 or 10 minutes. Just let me know. And thanks, love and appreciate you, buddy.
Likewise, man. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Bye bye.
Later, buddy.